Good morning. This is completely unrehearsed, but I really felt led that it would be appropriate for me to do a video this morning. Probably should have done videos all throughout this whole process, but nonetheless. So today, here in Australia, it is Friday, April the 13th. We have just passed, in Canada particularly, because of course they're always a little bit behind us with the time zones, but we have literally just passed this week the 3rd year anniversary of Mom's flight to heaven, to be with Dad and to be with her Savior Jesus. And as she has finished her journey, I'm actually also on my final lap. Not final lap up to the sky, but my final lap of my journey post Mom's passing. And I just wanted to show you a little bit around the house. My journey is some paperwork that I have been processing to put forward a concern of mine. And that concern was in relationship to work treatment subsequent to Mom's passing, as well as some issues that arose while I was actually caring for Mom while she was dying over in Canada. So I would love to be able to reverse the camera, but I don't think it lets me do that in this mode at the moment. So I'm going to take a second video, which you won't see me, but I'm going to be showing you various areas of the house. Our house over the past 3 years hasn't always been a house that has been organized and together, but it has been a house of healing. And that house has included 2 people, myself and my lovely husband, Peter, who has been incredibly has been incredibly supportive of me throughout this whole journey. And look, it's been a journey that I wouldn't recommend anyone else take, but at the same time, sometimes things take time. And certainly with systems and processes, they certainly do, and it doesn't happen overnight. My healing has been a process over the past 3 years. There were stages of shock, numbness, negotiation, all those stages that people go through in grief. And the person or the organization to whom I'm complaining about seemed to think that I should have had the cognitive capability all upstairs and had it all worked out, that I should have just known what to do at the time. But there are constant examples where I wasn't thinking clearly. I was barely able to function on a day-to-day basis. I was just coping. I was just getting up in the morning, washing my face or having a shower, and like a robot. That's my fur baby son, Jake, in the background there. I was just literally just getting by. And it took a couple of years before I was at my breaking point, and hence made the decision that I needed to get out of there because I wasn't getting any better. Just one little example, which I will just share. I don't know if it's going to let me pause it, so just bear with Jake's barking in the background, sorry. But there was one specific example where I know I was not well. And it was earlier on in the piece when I had first come back in May 2015. And sorry, I am going to try and pause it. Oh, no, he's calmed down. That's a good boy. Earlier on in the piece when I was really struggling and not well, I knew that I needed to leave work for a period of time, and I wasn't even thinking clearly enough to actually see that I was sick, that I could have potentially applied for some sick benefits through our superannuation. And the employer didn't offer a alternate suggestion to me when I said that I was going to take the remainder of my long service leave. So that's an indication in my mind that they didn't actually offer proper duty of care, knowing my psychological state at the time. So these are just a couple of examples. So finalizing my final rebuttal in the stage of what has been a long haul. But again, I persevered when I first came back to the employer in May of 2015 and persevered, stayed in their employment until December 2016 after an extremely exhaustive process of trying to work out a resolution, which wasn't forthcoming. And so subsequently I resigned, and because I really felt that I had no other choice. And I then pursued other avenues to help me along the way, to pursue some justice, which is ultimately what this is about. Justice for myself, for my husband, for my family, because I've had a very incredibly supportive group of friends and family, some adopted family, but nonetheless still family, including my beautiful stepdaughter and her fiance. And, you know, it's been a hard road, but it's been a road that I know that has given me a lot of purpose, and it's helped me to do a lot of soul searching, and I've grown a lot through the process. I'm healing still, and even now I can sort of just feel those emotions were a little bit close to the surface, but I've been able to rein them in. And I would also like to offer kudos to the medical professional who have supported me along the way, particularly my current treating psychologist, but that's notwithstanding the wonderful counselors and the mentors and friends that I've had along the journey. But yeah, so this is the final lap. I just have some final editing to do and an appointment with my GP today, which I'm hopeful that I'll get that final letter that I need from herself. And then it's off to the relevant government body for their review and final decision on whether or not the case will be accepted and potential resolution between myself and whom I used to work for. That's just a little bit of a summary. And I also want to pay kudos to the legacy of my mom and my dad. I never called mom my mama bear, but throughout these last 3 years has become a term, an affectionate term that I refer to her when I think of her. She'd be my mama bear, supporting me along the journey. And I remember her with great affection and admiration. And it has been the memory of her and Dad that has actually encouraged me on, given me that motivation and that drive to know that the daughter that they raised me to be wouldn't have stood by and just let anyone be treated the way that I have been treated. I should also pay tribute to my wonderful church family. They have been wonderful as well, and I've shared some of the journey and testimonies to them on a Sunday morning from time to time. And there's been others, and I don't want to name names specifically because I may forget someone, and I certainly would not want to do that. But I know that I hold each and every one of you very close to my heart. And I've tried to keep this as confidential as possible to respect process and procedure. But I want to be able to share my story because I want to encourage others, because I know that there's been a lot of others that I have come across in my journey that have suffered a lot of disadvantages as well. And it is easier to give up. I get that. I so totally get that. I was prepared to even just throw in stuff last week because this last lap has been hard. This last lap has been hard. But I know that I have an Abba Daddy that has actually also been supporting me through this journey. And I know that it is through his strength that I have been able to persevere. And I'm very grateful for that as well. So if you've stuck around and watched the whole thing, good on you. I will be taking just a second video just to show you the house. because my house has not been an organized house over these past 3 years. And, you know, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have organized houses, because, you know, we should try to keep our houses, I think, as organized as possible, because when we do, it clears up the mind as well. The papers and things that you'll see in the second video aren't always out. They've had to come out of their relevant boxes and things in the past couple of weeks so that I can go back through some of the paperwork. But the dishes that you'll see on the bench, the counter, some of them have been there for a few weeks. I don't put additional pressure on myself. I do them when I can. Peter steps in and helps incredibly, but he's holding down a few different jobs at the moment. And look, we don't spend all of our time here at the house. God has blessed us with a new opportunity, and that is sailing. So, you know, that's when we're not here, we're actually self-healing out on the water, which is awesome. We're really enjoying that new pastime that has that we found ourselves able to enjoy, and our puppy dog Jake has so been loving it along with us. And we know that his sister Jessie, who's up there in doggy heaven, she would have loved it as well, and we often think of her and remember her. We're coming up to her 1-year anniversary on the 17th of April. Well, I think I've said everything I wanted to say, but yeah, I thought it was good for me to document a little bit of this stuff. I should have documented the hours and hours that I have actually sat in front of the computer or poured over paperwork and done research. But nonetheless, it's been a long time, but it's been a beneficial time. And again, thank you so much to all of those around that have supported. And I just want to support you out there who may be going through something similar. It's hard. You might have to give up, and that's okay. Sometimes we need to, again, understand our boundaries. But if you need help, don't hesitate to ask for help, because we need community. We need people around us. We can't do it on our own. And there are times when I've needed to step back and just have some time alone. That allows me to refuel, and that's okay, but don't stay in that zone for too long. Make sure that you still connect with the people that you need support from. And if you need medication, if you need help, you know, it's all part of the journey. But be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. There may be times in the journey where you feel like you get angry at yourself because you don't want to feel this way. Yep, I understand that feeling. Don't get cross with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Understand that those emotions and feelings are real, and you can't push them down. You have to feel them. You have to let yourself understand the grief, understand the hurt, understand the anger, but don't push it down. Talk to someone, whether it's a friend or whether it's a professional. But yeah. So this is Brenda signing off on the 13th of April, 2018 it is this year. 3 years post Mama Bear's flight. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. Thank you for your legacy. And thank you, Abba Daddy. And thank you to my beautiful husband, Peter.